Alright guys, today we're talking about the Thai sidekick. I did a video recently about a couple techniques that cover a lot of distance really fast, and people were going, oh, we want to learn more about this Thai sidekick. It has not been covered very often, and it is a very nice combination between a front kick, which comes straight out, and a side kick, which is chambered up here, which comes out like that. But this one is basically a hybrid, and I want to demonstrate very quickly for you with somebody holding Bob the difference in power between the three.
Bob needs some extra support.
Bob does need some extra support. So what we're going to start with here is you hold him nice and tight. Make sure you brace because I don't want to send him flying. This will be my front kick. I'm going to try and do all of them about 60-70% power so I don't send my wife flying across the room. So I'm in my stance and I come number one with my front kick.
Oh my gosh. You kick so hard.
We're prepped up for that one.
Right? All right. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, one more time. Front kick, prep up nice and there you go. You're stable. All right. One. Side kick, a little bit more powerful.
Jeez.
Two.
This is harder than holding the bag for you. Why is that?
And then the Thai side kick, which again is just because I can create more distance. Number three.
This is abuse.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to intro it, and then we will be back with the whole episode. All right, guys, we're talking about the Thai sidekick today. As you just saw in the little introduction, the little clip, it is the most powerful by far. Why is it the most powerful? I put that down strictly to distance. When I throw my front kick, let's say I'm standing here, that's my distance. That's how much range I have. When I throw my side kick, I can pivot my foot a little bit more and I can extend about that far through. But when I throw the Thai side kick from the exact same place, look at the distance that I can create. I can knock Bob almost all the way over, whereas my side kick is here and my front kick is here. So how do we learn the technique? How do we utilize our hips? How do we utilize our feet in the correct way to create lots of distance? And once we've done that, once we've created extra distance to force our opponent back, we will then talk about the specifics of the pivot and all the other elements that come with this crazy awesome kick. So when I'm throwing my front kick and I lift up, I don't let my hips turn, because if my hips turn on a front kick, it becomes very sloppy and I can't pull out of it. So when I throw my front kick, I'm keeping my hips square and my distance is about that much. Now, when I turn for my side kick, a side kick is basically chambering for a front kick here, but I'm actually throwing there. I get a little bit more extension, mostly because I've now pushed this hip a tiny bit further in front, but mostly, and this is the big thing that I count for, is this foot pivots. When I pivot, I create, let's see how much extra distance that is. I go from here to about there. That's my range distance, and that's very important in the Thai side kick as well. So once I've taken my lead hip from here to here, I put my kick out. Now the big difference is the fact that I'm not striking with my heel, I'm pointing my foot but pulling my toes back, so I'm striking with the ball of my foot. I'm lifting it up, I'm throwing it out like a front kick, but instead of going right to here, I do a full pivot and I turn the hips over and I continue to have my toes pointed somewhat sideways. I don't prefer to go this direction, I prefer to come on a 45-degree angle. And the shoulders play a big factor in this as well, whereas on a front kick, my shoulders can generally stay square. I cannot keep my shoulders square as I throw the Thai side kick because it's just it's just like my body fighting itself. How do I have my hips staying square but my shoulders going forward, or vice versa? If my hips go forward, my shoulder goes forward. Everything stays together. So the lovely thing about the Thai side kick, the thing that's my favorite, is its ability to cover distance. If I'm at that range where I'm going, okay, I can't land my front kick, there's no way. Okay, I can just land my side kick. From those distances, he probably thinks, okay, he has to do some fancy footwork to get to me, but for the Thai side kick, all I have to do is lift, big pivot, and I can touch. If I'm really good at this, I can initiate a slide with it as well. So I'm way back here now, where I'm completely out of range. I lift my knee, I don't have to do anything first, I don't have to move my foot. slide it in because that's an indication that something's coming. I just simply lift and I slide to my target. One of the most interesting things about a Thai sidekick is the lack of a re-chamber. So what I mean by that is when we throw our front kick, we pull it back. When we throw our side kick, we pull it back. When we throw a Thai sidekick, we are aiming straight through our opponent with no real idea about pulling it back. So if I hit my partner and I go through, I'm so far through this kick that I just basically let it fall down and pull it back. If I'm shadow boxing and I want to throw it, it looks like this. I come up, out, and sweep it down. I still want to come back to my nice narrow stance. I don't want to make the mistake of ending up too wide. My hands are up. I come out and back. Out and back. And this kick can be done off either leg. Buakaw is amazing from here at throwing the Thai sidekick off the back leg. He does it from so far away. People want to get out of that distance of his round kicks. His round kicks, they back up far enough and then he can come boom, or he can even come up to the head with the Thai sidekick. Another nice factor of the Thai sidekick is its safety from punches. When I lift and extend out, my head has moved completely out of punch range. I don't want to keep my head up because I'll naturally just fall forward really hard. So as I lift and extend, the head and the leg act as counterbalances. So when I get it out, if I needed to, I can keep my head way out of punch range. If for some reason I made a mistake and the kick slid by, the guy gets in nice and tight. Instead of me being right here where I'm in punch range, I'm back there. So play around with that counterbalance. As your leg lifts, your head leans back, and then you sweep your leg through. This is a kick that is extremely underutilized unless you're seeing guys compete in Muay Thai. In Muay Thai, it's very common. You will see guys like Sanchai, Lordzilla, Buakaw. All the big names really are very, very good at this. And that's just because it is such an amazing kick. I'm surprised it hasn't made its way over to a lot of the other styles yet. But technically, there's many things which are wrong with this kick. Not like we already talked about, not having a proper re-chamber, kind of sloppy extension on the kick, but it is one of my favorite. And as I already mentioned, I love the distance it can cover. I love the fact that because you're striking with the ball of the foot right into the stomach, it is not a pleasant kick. It's not like a side kick where you're ideally aiming for just the heel to land, but sometimes the flat of the foot lands. The more space that touches the opponent, the less painful it is. If I can get, instead of the flat of my foot, just the ball of the foot landing, that is really, really gonna hurt my opponent. The Thai sidekick, guys, you've gotta try it. You've gotta get this in your arsenal. It is so important to have in there. People will not be ready for it. Guys, I'm gonna give you one final demo of just knocking Bob right on his back with this kick. Before we do it, give the video a like. If you haven't, get subscribed. And let's get this little demo going right here. How easy it is to knock Bob over. Filled up with water. I lift, I slide, and I very simply knock him backwards. That's to the head. That's even less effective than a body shot. My hands are up. Just a pretty super effective technique. Guys, train hard, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.